The grand chandelier sparkled. The ruffian son of a high-ranking noble family. A lone figure sat with his back to the viewer in an opulent room. Are they removing me from the family register? Ed Rothtailor, identified by name, lamented. It feels like the god of fate is ridiculing me. Ed found himself standing before a grand building, 2 suitcases at his feet. Whispers followed him. Isn't that Ed Rothtailor? Don't look. He'll notice, one voice sneered. Apparently, he was disowned. He shouldn't have rigged the entrance exam in the first place. Sitting on a bench, his few possessions beside him, I knew this would happen. Honestly, this is unfair. Because the arrogant Ed Rothtailor you people are talking about isn't me, Ed cried out in anguish. Replaced by the glow of a computer screen. I entered a game. The title appeared, The Failed Swordsman of Sylvania, based in the magic school Sylvania Academy. Usually, when you enter a game inside webtoons, you possess SSS rank hunter character who breaks the rules. But Ed was different. Of all the possibilities, I'm a third-rate villain who gets kicked out of the dorms at the beginning of the game. His reaction was one of disbelief. This isn't fair. You can't be serious. But the game characters scoffed. Look at him. He's saying it's unfair after everything he has done. Alone on the bench, Ed was ostracized. A close-up revealed a change in his eyes. A subtle smirk. Suddenly, a stat window appeared. Whoa, it's a stat window. Stat window highlighted his abysmal scores. Even the farmer NPC had a stamina of 5. He's attending the Faculty of Magic, yet his intellect is crawling on the floor. No wonder, he was originally just a third-rate trampy villain who appears in the early scenarios. A close-up of Ed's determined eyes followed. The ending credits of a game rolled. In a corner of the ending credits, he was begging, looking like a damn bum. No surprise there. The ruffian who knew nothing about the world was suddenly thrown onto the streets, so he's lucky he's even alive. But the questions remained. Why was it me? How did I possess this body? I don't know the reason for this, nor do I have any way to find out. But I won't let that be my ending. I'm going to make it no matter what. The sprawling Sylvania Academy was revealed. Rather than a school, the academy is closer to being a city. Ed found himself in the undeveloped forest. Dragging his luggage, he reflected. I was trying to escape the prying eyes of the students, and ended up walking for half a day. That's plenty of time to understand the situation I'm in. At the point when Ed was just disowned, it was the extreme starting part of the scenario. He had not been expelled from the school yet. This is extremely important. Sylvania Academy is a top-notch academy. Its crest promised a secure future upon graduation. Ed's strategy formed, and as long as the game is set in the academy, of a 5-time dedicated player, that means if I just graduate quietly. The allure of a better life motivated him, shown by the image of gold coins. So obviously, my goal is graduation. The issue is the enormous tuition fees. So if I can just get a scholarship for the next semester, but first, I gotta think about the urgent matter. Things I need to survive right now, or as they say, food, clothing, and shelter. He cross-checks his belongings, finding only useless items, other than clothes. The dawning problem was he had no place to stay, so he was stuck in woods for the time being. At least he had water stream nearby, realizes. 10 days until school starts. He decides to use this time to prepare himself. He begins by clearing some trees. Wind blade, he uses, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Thankfully, he can use spells. However, the physical exertion of cutting just 15 tree trunks leaves him utterly drained. Damn it, this only made me hungrier, he thinks. At least feed me before you kick me out. He remembers something his grandfather told him when he was young. He said he'd eat tree bark in the back mountains. He tries this, building a fire with an ignition, and thinking, anything edible is good for me. He then prepares the bark, noting, if you don't look closely, it looks like chicken breast. He tastes it, but the repeated sounds of blek and blurg reveal his disgust. Day 3 passes, and a sickly-looking Ed, holding some leafy branches, thinks, I hate you, Grandpa. I came to the conclusion that wood is used to build houses. He struggles to build a structure, realizing, first, you need to raise the frame that supports the wood. He struggles with the construction, thinking, I only have 2 hands. But there are 4 supports. Then, unexpectedly, he finds himself pinned to the ground. He struggles, gritting his teeth in pain and effort. He eventually manages to complete the shelter's frame, exhausted but with a sense of accomplishment. He gathers clothing and fabric to make a bed. As night falls, the full moon illuminates the dark blue sky. The next day, the sun shines brightly through the trees. Finally, he finishes the shelter. I barely managed to finish it. Suddenly, a notification appears. Your creation is complete. Your crafting proficiency has increased. and the system provides his skills details. Annoyed and still hungry, growl, he notes. Looking at his skills, he realizes he is more talented with his hands than with magic. And right that time he needed that, another notification appears. Crafting himself a simple harpoon. Driven by hunger and thinking, let's get something proper to eat. Wielding his newly crafted harpoon. I definitely shouldn't be able to move right now, yet. It must be desperation that is keeping me moving. His desire is clear. I want to eat meat. He cooks the 2 fish over the fire. A week until school starts. Ed then devours a whole fish, thinking, I just have to hold out as I am right now. Suddenly woman hair comes into scene, calling for him. Ed looks shocked. Holding the fish remains, I was so busy surviving that I forgot something important. Shocked to see him there. Ed Roth-Taylor? Looking at him. Ed's thoughts race. But of all the people, I didn't expect to run into her over here. Remembering past memories. King woman with long blonde hair in a formal uniform, who declares, please disappear from this academy. We see the same blonde woman looking at him with an exasperated expression, asking, you still haven't left this place? Episode 1. Sylvania's failure swordsman, sets the stage. A noble uses his status, hitting on the MC's childhood friend, Alia. Not stopping there, Ed maliciously adjusts the MC's entrance exam for Sylvania Academy. But Ed is then caught by a girl who came to take the entrance exam while hiding her identity. The girl is revealed, Klol Empire's 3rd princess, the Princess of Phoenix. A close-up of Fionia's eye shows a scale symbol, activating insight, detecting the target's lies and conspiracies. Ed Roth-Taylor, who was caught in a sad state, had all of his lies exposed by Fionia's insight. And then, as a consequence, Ed is chased out of the dorms. His belongings scattered. Fionia confronts him. What are you doing here? The caption adds. But he met someone that you shouldn't meet the most. You're saying that the academy isn't expelling you, Ed weakly replies. It's just, I still am a student here, but I was still chased out of the dorms. Fionia's determined face accompanies the words. I'll keep my words short. Leave. I can't stand to see a shameless person like you around this school. Meanwhile, Ed thinks of his burning food. After starving for 3 days, my precious food. Ed's dismayed face appears with the thought. I thought you were going to keep it short. This person, Phoenicia's princess, really has the power to get me expelled. Ed asks Fionia, aren't the royalty always guarded by heavily armed soldiers? To think that a noble princess would come to an isolated forest like this alone. Fionia, surrounded by swirling energy, retorts. If you're trying to threaten me knowing that I don't have escorts, then you will regret it. Asks innocently, what do you mean threaten? I'm simply kneeling down thanking the princess. Insight has been activated. Fionia looks down skeptically. There are no lies within Ed Roth-Taylor's words. Fionia looks utterly bewildered. She looks surprised. A dark castle looms. The Roth-Taylor family that Ed belongs to is famous and influential. But using that name to exploit the citizens and doing human experiments for research into eternal life. To the MC, it's a trash family that is destined to be destroyed. The people of the family will all be imprisoned or executed. However, I was disowned. I may be cold and hungry right now, but it's still better than dying. Ed looks determined, so I need to convince Fionia like this without lying, or else I'll be expelled. No, it would be game over. Looking at the timeline, around when Ed Roth-Taylor is expelled, then what would be the reason for the princess to be here? You must be completing the class placement test. It's a test to find magic beads hidden in the forest. Professor Glast's test is known to be quite vicious. Of course, if it's the noble Princess Fionia, you'll be aiming for the best class. Are you trying to flatter me? You haven't changed a bit. Her demanding that he should have been expelled, stopped in mid-sentence, telling her without his help. Ed looks intently at Fionia, declaring, you will never be able to enter Class A. If my words are a lie, then you can have me expelled. The whispers carried Fionia through the emerald depths of the forest. There will be a small grassy island. There will be a giant tree in the middle of that island. That tree is called the Merilda's Guardian Tree. And there, nestled at the base of the Merilda's Guardian Tree, a faint luminescence pulsed. You will find the present I had left. Remembering the past of sad state of Ed, then compares it to the present him, with no words to say, standing silently. The class placement test had officially ended. Back at the academy, Professor Glast addressed the gathered students. Take out the beads you have acquired. A collection of varied trinkets were presented. All of you will start from Class F. This test isn't just about finding any magic bead. Only 3 of you found this type of bead, Glast continued. Zix, a student with dark, intense eyes, stepped forward. Lortel, a girl with vibrant red hair, offered a confident smile. And lastly, the one who found a bead at Guardian Tree of Merilda that had unusually high magic power. You shall be at the top of the class. I don't even have the strength to use a spear anymore. Followed by the image of a crudely crafted fishing rod. The third princess. Since she was young, Princess Phoenix has seen through flattery and sophistry, thus sharpening her insight, which lead to the creation of her innate skill. No one can ever escape from her insight, thinking about her future, where she will be called Princess of Love, after placement failure. But if she finds the bead, and entered Class A, the original story would collapse, and even if he avoid being expelled, he still will be done for. Teacher announcing the topper of the class, to be Lucy Merrill and not Princess, Ed thinking the future might still not change. Insight will always see the truth. There really is a bead. Ed Roth-Taylor didn't lie. Holding the radiant bead, a realization dawned. Why did Princess Phenia hide her identity in the first place? She was embarrassed of the special treatment she would be receiving had her identity was exposed. She wanted to prove herself, but Phoenix couldn't take that bead, as finding it would be something that she didn't accomplish on her own. Is not a skill or stat, but a title she would gain by walking the righteous path. I threw bait at the princess. Whether a lie or truth she can discern on her own. Even if Ed Roth-Taylor really believed that the princess would fail the test, she had confidence in succeeding and rubbing it in his face. However, Ed Roth-Taylor did not lie, as she wasn't able to enter Class A. The princess now, she could no longer do anything, all thanks to a burnt fish and a crude fishing rod. Holding a fishing rod with a large fish caught on the line. Running with a sense of urgency. I may be living in a place where I have to start running from early in the morning to get to school on time. Panting, stops as something comes in his view, but I'm back, at Sylvania Academy. Standing in the bustling academy with many students walking around. This image shows a school opening ceremony in a large hall with students seated at tables. I could hear the sweet whispers that welcomed me. One says, just look at him. Another says, how did he have the face to come to the opening ceremony? This is the reward for the victor. Eating a piece of meat with a fork and knife. Let's enjoy it slowly. Isn't that Ed Roth-Taylor? The second year that showed a sorry state during the entrance exam. I don't have any ambitions. I just want to graduate. That's strange. Somehow, noticing something unusual about him despite their initial negative judgment. I wished for nothing to happen. A character with pink hair and a thoughtful expression. He feels like a different person. Today's the first day of school at Sylvania, but for our protagonist, it was the start of a wild ride he never saw coming. However, on his very first day, he nearly gets expelled. It seems someone named Phoenix almost told the dean about him. He thinks, anyway, I barely managed to avoid it. Let's be careful, so that the story doesn't stray from the original. We learn he's a novice fighter with a specialty in bow and arrow. As his life skills become more proficient, he'll be able to cast spirit or magic formulas to his arrows. We see him in a forest, his bow and arrow on his back, holding a white rabbit, but spirit formulas are beyond his current capabilities. Something seems to catch him off guard. Janica, top student best in spirit sorcery, was sitting under the tree. He is then confronted by Janica, asking him he is the one who Marlinda was talking about, comes close to him, introducing herself, while Ed was not able to see her movements just now. She asks him, was he surprised as she knew about him, reveals. This forest is the territory of Merilda, a high-ranking spirit. I've heard a lot about you from her. Merilda's kinda nosy. With her attention all over the place, it's obvious she'd know about an unwanted visitor, right? I did, kill a lot of them. I cut so many trees, too. Don't sweat the small stuff. Merilda doesn't get bothered by something like that either. Our hero looking slightly flustered. I guess even the huge wild wolf has a tender heart. Janica blushes to see him up close. Changing the topic asks unexpected, right? Suddenly, Janica holds out her hands, a small glowing figure between them, and says, I signed a contract with him yesterday as soon as I saw him. Do you want to try touching him? A contract? Is it a spirit? Ed wanted to be her friends with her, but he could not. The protagonist replies, I don't know what you mean. I don't see spirits. Or rather, I can't. Janica, surprised, asks, you can't see spirits? The protagonist confirms with a simple, yep. Anyway, I came here to get food, so I'll get going now. He internally monologues, only by following the original storyline can I gain an informational advantage. He explains us that he can't be friends with her as she holds significant importance to storyline. The next image shows Janica looking thoughtful, with a glowing spectral wolf and a small winged creature beside her agrees, he was fascinating guy. No matter how much I think about it, I think he really can't see you. I tried so hard to be kind to him, but he just answers with yep. What's yep supposed to be? Well, it's not like we won't see each other again. She can just find out about him from now on, right? The distance between my shelter and the student area wasn't close at all, and shows the protagonist, looking exhausted and sweaty. I barely make it in time, leaving at dawn and running at full speed. I write on a stone slab using a burned stick and borrow books from the student library. On my way home, I wash my sweaty clothes for daily wear. I have to check if I have enough firewood, drinking water, and jerky for tomorrow's lunch. I can only sleep for 4 hours because of this. But that's not what bothers me the most. He couldn't shake the feeling of being observed. How long are you going to keep following me? Janika's voice cut through the quiet of the evening. Why, you knew? It'd be stranger if I didn't. Don't you know who I am? I'm Ed Rothtailor, the worst hooligan to exist. But Janica was unfazed. Well, that's other people's judgment of you, isn't it? She added. I don't even know you yet. A statement that disarmed him more than any threat. Right. Janica Faylover was this kind of character. She may look naive and dumb on the outside, but she's really independent-minded. However, the weight of his knowledge about her true role cast a shadow over their interactions. Because Janica Faylover is the final boss of Act 1. She's the only character who smiles to Rothtailor. I didn't want to go this far, but in that case, since destiny brought us together, can you do me a favor? As you can see, I'm a mess. I've been disowned by my family, and I'm in a pinch. Can you give me some money? I mean, it's not like I won't pay you back. That's what friends are for, right? I'm only borrowing it for a bit. Every year, Janica gets a scholarship for being the top of the class. Her background is so poor that without the scholarship, she can't enroll or advance to higher graduation in the school. Her weakness is money. Standing silently with no answer to that, her embarrassed, sorry, Janica Faylover, cut out. He mentally tried to distance himself. 3 days later, the passage of time offered a brief respite. I don't feel great about it, but I don't want to get entangled with the important characters anymore. Let's be careful, so that the story doesn't stray from the original. Returning to his secluded shelter in the woods, the sound of his approach, he sought solace and a sense of normalcy. What the hell? His shocked reaction indicated a startling discovery at his usually quiet dwelling. The rare genius and the most powerful character of The Failed Swordsman of Sylvania, Lucy Merrill, sleeping peacefully near his shelter. Why the hell is she sleeping here? What is she even doing in this mountain valley? You're so loud that I can't sleep, Lucy mumbled. His immediate, flustered response was, what did I do? Only to be met with her dismissive, not you. And she pointed towards something unseen by the viewer. That wolf over there, which is as big as a house. A mixture of surprise and alarm. It keeps talking to you. A massive, glowing wolf-like entity materialized into view, its form radiating power. The protagonist, relaying its words, spoke with a sense of urgency. It's asking you to someday save Janica at all costs.